Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. With the final week of qualifiers for Major 1 just around the corner, the OpTic guys certainly do not have the easiest task ahead of them getting through to the winners bracket for their own tournament. Dashy, as a result, taking his search and destroy preparation to another level. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it, as with the YouTube algorithm. And let's just dive straight on into things. Firstly, with ranked play finally arriving tomorrow. It's been a long time coming. Not sure when it's going to arrive, exactly what time it actually drops, knowing like in Europe it'll probably be like midnight Eastern time or something, but I guess we shall see. Hopefully it works as good as it was talked about a few days ago, right, when the CDL kind of did that pre-show thing to the first match on Friday, saying yes, ranked play is going to be XYZ, there's going to be an elo system. Looks very promising. Hopefully hopefully the game improves as well, because it's kind of unfortunate that we get maybe the best ranked play system we've seen in years on a game that maybe doesn't exactly, leaves a lot to be desired, let's just say. But I thought it's kind of good from the CDL message, I suppose, if you want to take the day off, but probably there's going to be some problems with it on day one, right? It's very rare that something like this drops and it's all sunshine and rainbows straight away. This also for Maven, right? Of course, he turned 37 yesterday, so happy birthday to Maven for yesterday. But yeah, certainly some thoughts. Okay, Maven, like, could they ever come back? Because of course they've kind of determined what their casting pairings are going to be. They've got Lando Standy, they've got Miles and Chance, and they've got Bryson Tunning for this year. Maven actually does tweet out this. Thanks to Rick for pointing this out to me. Hope to be back stroking your beard in the green room very soon indeed. So it obviously is a big L to not have Maven and Merc as part of the stream. I think there was maybe some still hope being kind of held out, right, that over the coming weeks or whatever the CDL might change their minds or go down a different route. Doesn't seem like that's the case, right? Maybe they bring them back at some point, maybe next year, I don't know. Maybe there has been some other things these guys can get involved in, but it happened in Overwatch as well, like Sideshow and Bren, I think, were the premier guys over there. They just got let go as well, so not really sure what Activision's playing it on this front, but still, maybe there's some hope for these guys to come back together in the future at some point or another. Let's talk about some game updates that went through yesterday then. So as Gunless says, he's obviously been playing a fair few public matches lately. Talk about the chopper gunner, whatever's going on there exactly. Chopper gunner going on, no kill streak, spawn protection, classic stuff from these type of game updates. But this was also something that was noted yesterday, that the menu seemingly was live for ranked play in the game, despite not being live, officially as of yet, right? No, no one I think can find lobbies, and I'm pretty sure this wasn't actually what it was intended to look like anyway, because to me, this doesn't exactly look great by any means. This is it says ranked play on the screen. I did see another one, I think yesterday, that was leaked or something that seemed to imply that there was like some sort of scoring system or coming up. Look, we'll find out tomorrow. Not really the end of the world, but still, this is what kind of was in the game. So it says ranked play selected input controller, so maybe they're going to do something where you can turn off crossplay or whatever between the different controller options or keyboard and mouse, because that's something that people might kind of want to see, right? Okay, yes, if I'm playing on PC, but I've got a controller, do I really want to be playing against keyboard and mouse players? Maybe not, so that's something to consider at the very least. And also, this was noticed, right, in the quick play filter, that Call of Duty League was here for some people. Not searchable, I don't believe, but still interesting regardless. And yeah, combat pacing, there's still kind of the tactical thing here, so I don't really think this is how it was intended to look. I believe this was subsequently removed from the game, as Crone says, the playlist has now been removed. The menu hopefully will look a little bit better than that one, right, when it does officially come into the game very soon indeed. Let's dive into how the qualification standings are looking right now then. So the OpTic Major Tournament starts on March the 3rd, obviously in a week or so's time. There's, interestingly enough, this major cycle, there's a week break between the final week of qualification matches starting in 2 days' time on this Friday and the major beginning. Usually it goes straight from the final week of quali straight into the major, but this time I believe maybe for whatever reason they couldn't get the venue on the dates they wanted, and therefore like there's a week off effectively. But normally I'm pretty sure the week off comes after the major, whereas this time the week off comes before. So I'm pretty sure after this major concludes, in 4 days' time you're straight back into the qualification games for the next major, which does mean of course there's a lot of Call of Duty to be watched. But these are the matches for this upcoming week, some absolute bangers right here. But the OpTic guys obviously do have the easiest task ahead of them, because they're currently 1-2 in their standings. They're actually 7-6 in their map count, right, because they got beaten 3-2 twice and then they won a series 3-0. So they have a positive map count despite being a negative series count. But their first series is against Ultra. That is obviously far from an easy one. They struggled with Ultra, seriously last season. Not sure whether Cammy's going to be back for this one or whether Hicksy's still going to be there. That of course does make a difference. You'd imagine Cammy probably will be back in time for this one. Doesn't spell the greatest thing for OpTic, of course, even though they 3-0'd Florida last week with Hicksy in the team anyway. And they play the Boston Breach later in the week on the Sunday. So some great matches here really all across the board. I mean, there should be some theoretically pretty good ones. Looking forward to how New York can potentially get on. FaZe versus Rokkr also pretty exciting. Definitely some good games up ahead. But of course, Illy and the guys were saying, okay, even after we won against Paris, there's still lots to work on. They know that Toronto was such a boogeyman team for those guys last year. They basically could not beat them at all after stage 1. And we know their search and destroy so far has been kind of the biggest issue. I think right now they're 2-4 in search and destroy. They won it against Paris. They certainly seem to be improving in that mode. But we know know that Toronto are so good in every mode, right? They're really good at the hard points, they're very solid in the controls, and they're really good in search and destroy. They're very tough to beat in a game 5, game 2, whatever the situation might be. That's why OpTic struggled against them so much last year, because they really don't have any weaknesses, right? Just such a hard team to get by, and because OpTic's game 5s last year were very lackluster, and so far this year have continued along the same trends, then, you know, Toronto's a team that's always going to be pretty solid in those situations, generally got the better of OpTic when they went down to the wire. The OpTic guys certainly realised there's work to be done in the search and destroy. FormaL goes on to say last night that Dashy was in the hex quarters behind him, effectively just grinding out search and destroy on his own, sitting in a private lobby, no one else was there, just working out line of sights, bomb spots, timings, whatever the case might be, just trying to get any little edge he potentially can to share with the rest of the team and give them an advantage in the series they have this week.
If you are, just know that Brandon's behind me right now, I think running around on S&D maps by himself, just like trying to get in scenarios. He's like, he shows me post plan setups and so funny. Not saying a word.
So I thought it was good to hear from FormaL, and pretty cool to see from Dashy as well, right, that they're taking it seriously to this degree. I'm sure Rambo's saying, look, we need to take our search and destroys a little bit better than we are right now, because obviously in terms of KD, yes, they've only played 6 maps so far this season, not a crazy sample size, but it's still already giving a picture, right, in terms of KD. Shots is a 1.05, Dashy is a 0.82, Scumba's a 0.71, Illy has a 0.95, right, so far, the search and destroy hasn't been great for the OpTic guys by any means at all. They've gone to a lot of round 11s, their first blood rate is actually only 37%, which is pretty woeful, right, if you think about it. Like, 50% would be the expected, I suppose, and they're only getting 37%, like almost only a third of the time they get first bloods. Like, they're closer to a third than they are to a half, right? That's a pretty big deal. And I mean, look, Dashy's trying his best to try and figure things out, because he obviously was using the sniper for a time, went 4-15, I believe, in that series they played up against Minnesota Rokkr. That wasn't ideal at all, and well, I'm sure he's going to try and figure out ways to use it to greater effect, or really just up their search and destroy to some level, because yeah, so far hasn't been great for them. They've got to figure things out in that sense, because when you're seeing an OpTic versus Toronto series, like that last year and probably this year again has game 5 written all over it, right? And it's been such a consistent trend over the last couple of years that if you want to be a championship winning team, you've got to win your game 5s. Game 5 search and destroy, at times there's always going to be these that crop up in these big tournaments and big moments. You've got to be able to win them, right? And so far OpTic haven't really proved that they can. Toronto certainly have proved that they can. So this, I suppose, is a really important matchup, I think, for these guys. And well, understandably, Dashy's taken things very seriously indeed. And well, it's certainly good to see that. Thought I'd look at actually the Toronto series these guys played last year. This isn't perfectly centralized, but you guys get the picture. Like, I mean, look, towards the end of last year, the final match OpTic actually played last year was against Toronto Ultra, losing in that losers round 2 of the World Championship. But if you scroll all the way back to stage 1, you'll find that they beat them in stage 1 in the Super Week in, well, the 24th of February 2021, and that is the last time, I believe, that OpTic actually took down Toronto. Every other time they matched them in the season, which was a lot, Toronto got the better of them. I think it was around about this time where Toronto made that change of insight coming into the team, right? And at the stage 2 major, Toronto got the better of OpTic. Then again, they played at the stage 3 major. Toronto beat OpTic at this time in a game 5. Then they play again, I think, at the stage 5 major when OpTic will once again lose in a game 5. And then they play, well, at the stage 5 major again in the losers bracket this time where they lose 3-1. And then the World Championship, they lose 3-1 as well. So a lot of the series 3-1, 3-2, but pretty much every single time they played Toronto in the latter half of last year, they lost the series. Certainly something they need to try and turn around. And well, it seems like they're going to try and make ends to do exactly that. So what do you guys exactly think needs to change if OpTic are going to take their search and destroy to the next level? They certainly don't have the easiest time of it this week. I mean, they play, of course, they play Toronto first on the Friday, and then they play Boston on the Sunday. That's not easy at all. Like, Boston also have a fair bit to fight for, but in fairness, I think Boston right now are 2-1. So if Boston beat New York, as they're expected to, they will be 3-1. So at that point, it maybe doesn't matter too much about beating OpTic, right? Like, OpTic will have more to fight for in that series, you would think, than Boston will. So maybe that gives them something of an edge. The Toronto series, I mean, obviously it matters to both of the teams, but OpTic, obviously, well, they need to win this series. It's pretty much a must-win. They need to win both of these, ideally, to go 3-2. They can probably get away with just one series victory here and go 2-3, and maybe get through based on the map count. As I say, not sure exactly what the tiebreakers are going to be. But yes, search and destroy obviously is going to be crucial. We saw that OpTic back in the day, like they'd do a lot of, they'd just win the game 1, no problem. Sometimes they'd win game 2, sometimes they'd lose it. But if not, they'd just win the 2 respawns anyway, 3rd and 4th. Not really so easy anymore, right, when the teams are so good as they are, especially in all the game modes. And search and destroy obviously very crucial. And occasionally you'll going to go to a game 5 when you got to clutch up. Hasn't happened so far. Definitely Dashy seems to be making ends to actually make that happen this time around. This also thought I'd look at power rankings from CDL metrics. Thought this was kind of cool. I wonder how you guys think this compares to the actual season standings, because obviously so far, like, some teams have had very easy games theoretically, and some teams have had very hard runs. Like Mutineers, they've played very difficult teams so far theoretically, and at Los Angeles Thieves, they've played New York. I think they've played Paris so far. Like, I think they might have played Florida as well. Not really sure, but they've played teams with not the best map records at all, not the best game records. So LA Thieves have had a pretty easy run, I think, so far. So that kind of makes you wonder, okay, technically they're 4th right here in the power rankings that the CDL metrics have come up with. In the standings, they're sitting here at 6th, right? So, what do you weigh, really? Do you weigh the rankings as they sit right now in the point standings? Because honestly, looking at these, rankings right here, honestly isn't all that far off what you might expect to see in terms of the overall power rankings, but you do have to consider, like, which teams these rosters played up against, because the fact of the matter is, they're theoretically, like, if you had a hard run this time of the 5 teams you had to play, then next stage, over the rest of the season, you should get an easier run. The problem is, like, that you're playing teams that should technically be easier, well, let's say a few months down the line, that might at the time it be very good. Like, there's certainly going to be teams here that get very unlucky. New York this time had a very difficult run of things. They played some top teams. They've still got to play Boston and FaZe to close out this week, but maybe down the line, the teams that they have to play then that theoretically are easier actually become much better, right? And therefore they get screwed over both ways, which does make you think, okay, maybe this format isn't great. It does make things entertaining, and at least every team does go to the major at the end of the day. But of course, that qualification for winners is very important if you want to win the entire tournament. And just to finish out with this, I thought it was pretty funny from Joey Nubsy. I'm sitting here in silence in my room, 2022. Still can't believe we got last at Black Ops 4 champs. If you guys are new, Gen G's coach Joey Nubsy was back in the day. They were a pretty solid squad all year. They made grand finals. They were close to winning championships with Envoy was on the team at the time. And it was kind of crazy at the World Championship. They didn't win a single series. They finished top 32. Massive surprise at the time. And as Envoy says, unacceptable vetoes out of you. Joey did want us to win. Joey fight back, but a nice little trip, I think, down memory lane. But very much intrigued to get your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on a like button. Tell us a YouTube god this is a good video. I'd also like you should see it as well. And upgrade the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care. And I will see you next time.
What is this? Dashy retires? I don't see Dashy retiring anytime soon. He's way too talented to retire. I mean, that's Big Brucey, man. It's Big Brucey. That guy shoots laser beams. I mean, even against Paris, he was beaming them down. Dashy was doing what he does. So, listen, I think Dashy could continue to fry and keep doing what he's doing. People need to hop off Dashy's nuts a little bit, man. He's a really good player, and they're figuring it out. They're figuring it out, and they just got to execute now. It's not individual talent that's stopping that OpTic team. I've said this multiple times, and it's definitely not a one-person problem. I think all of them collectively have to come together and figure out what system they want to play or how they want to play it. And that starts by listening to Rambo and getting everybody on the same page, man. And once Dashy can get on the same page, forget about it.